The Fred Hoiberg torture train just rolls on for Illinois basketball fans. Him and Nebraska come in to the State Farm Center and beat the Illini at the buzzer. We're going to talk about that game. We're going to talk about a couple of upcoming games for this basketball team. They added a midseason transfer. We're going to try to dig into what isn't working, what is working, where they're going to go from here as we continue on through the season. A lot to get through. We're mainly focused, or only focus today, is on Illinois basketball. We'll get to Illinois football coming next week, but more on that a little bit later. Straight to it, 83-80. Nebraska beats Illinois right at the buzzer. Jamarcus Lawrence drilled one to give Nebraska the win on the road at Illinois. Illinois falls to 8-3, 1-1 in the Big Ten. Now they're back to the non-conference before going back to Big Ten play for the rest of the year. My biggest takeaway from this game is that the big men for Illinois got exposed. And that's not something that we expected, or at least I expected heading into this season. We were told all offseason that and we saw early in the non-conference that could be a place that they could have real depth and a lot of really good minutes and players at that forward/center. They don't really play a center, but forward position there on the front court. And, I mean, you can see the stat line from their two main guys, their starters, nothing. I mean, this is nothing. And it wasn't much better on the defensive end either. You need more from Ivisic, Mirkovic, even Zvonimir, who comes off the bench. Didn't add a whole lot on Saturday, hasn't added a whole lot so far this season. They need more from these forwards if they're going to win at a high level in the Big Ten, because the Big Ten is full of very good forwards. And Nebraska has two really good ones, but they're not the best in the conference, and they got worked. They got absolutely worked on Saturday afternoon. The Ivisic twins combined for 10 points. Brad Underwood said David Mirkovic was in Serbia on Saturday during the game, which I don't really disagree with. Like I said, I thought the forwards were going to be a big strength for Illinois. They have not been that on either end of the court to this point. On the flip side, Price Sandfort had him in a torture chamber. He was outstanding, especially in the first half. He was just getting anything that he wanted. He had a wide open three really early on. I mean, he had the first 15 points of the game for Nebraska. I mean, he was great. He was great, and he got Nebraska out to a pretty decent lead there in that first half, and Illinois kind of jockeyed back to get it tied and take the lead at some points in the second half. But that's what Nebraska got from, I wouldn't even say their main best forward. I think Rink Mast is probably their best player, but on Saturday it was Price Sandfort, and that's because he got things going behind the line. He started 6 of 7 from the field, 3 of 4 from three-point. Like I said, he had all 15 of Nebraska's points to open up the game. I do want to mention, because I have to, that when Zvonimir Ivisic got his technical foul in the second half, it was a big play in the game. It was a big play before he got the technical for Illinois, because it was a momentum builder. It was a slam. The place was rocking, and it was 54-51 after the dunk. And he gets the tee for John a little bit. The tee, yeah, it was kind of soft. But still, you can't do it. I mean, he deserved it, but it was still a little bit soft. But either way, he gets the technical, and they go on a 7-0 run, Nebraska does. So it's 54-51 when he gets the technical. All of a sudden, it's 61-51, Nebraska. And credit to Illinois, they battled back and tied it with 16 seconds left before Nebraska hit the shot to win it. Here's a really frustrated Brad Underwood post-game, talking about the bigs, talking about his team's defensive effort.
You know, you look at our front line, there's nothing. You got a horrendous stat line from everybody that played. No rebounds, there's nothing there. And that's on me. That's in practice. That's getting more from them. They never give you a post up. Zach Edey never scored against them. That's not what they do. That's not what they give up. But having the ability to drive the ball downhill, and that's all we talked about, and having the ability to then score so you can get your defense set a little bit, mental acuity, mental awareness in transition. How does the best shooter in the Big Ten get a butt-naked 3 minutes into the game in transition? That's just 5 dudes out there who aren't dialed in, and that's where I got to help them.
Yeah, I mean, he's clearly really frustrated there, and I understand why, because they just got beat, at least in the front court. They got beat. The good news for Illinois coming out of this game, and this was what we've been seeing really all year, so it's not really a surprise, but I thought all 3 of their guards were really good. Stojakovic, Boswell, Wagler, I thought they all played well. I would like to see some more minutes out of Andre Stojakovic. 27 minutes to me is not enough for him. I think he's their best player, so 27 minutes to me is nothing. Why is he the first one to come off the floor for Ben Hummerkaus and Jake Davis? Maybe that's a little bit because he ends up, when all 3 of those guys are on the floor, meaning Boswell, Wagler, and him, he ends up more in that wing position, and that's what Hummerkaus and Jake Davis are. Maybe that's why, but to me, I don't care. He can handle the ball. I would rather keep him on the floor a little bit more. It'd be nice if he could make a 3 at some point this year. I think they're coming. He's got such a sweet stroke. It's hard to imagine that they won't start falling, but they haven't at all so far this year. But again, Boswell, he's just so consistent, shows up every single game. And then I've been very impressed with Keaton Wagler. True freshman. Kansas didn't want him. He's from Kansas. Kansas didn't want him. And Illinois said, all right, come over here. And he's been great. He had 19 on 6 of 13 from the floor, 4 of 8 from 3, and he had 10 assists. So the guards all played well. The guards are becoming the strength of this Illinois team, even though they have so much size down in the paint that you think that they can muster something at some point. But that is to be seen so far this year, at least against quality opponents like Nebraska was. So they fought a 1-1 in the Big Ten. What's not clicking? Well, you heard a little bit from Brad Underwood. They're not really defending. They're not getting anything from their bench, and they don't run in transition. They don't do any of those things. They are 3rd to last in the country in fast break points. 3rd to last. They should be able to fall out of bed and score 15 transition points, but they're averaging 5. 20 points off their bench, that's way higher than I thought it was, just watching. When I saw that, I couldn't believe it was 20, but it's 20 for the season. I mean, that's 279th. They're giving up 71.5 points a game. That's in the 140s. It just has been way too up and down for them so far this year. Outside of the numbers that you see right there, they shoot 29 threes per game, and they're 174th in the country in making them. They're at 34%. To me, that's not winning basketball. If you can't make threes, that doesn't mean shoot more of them. To me, that means shoot way less and try to do things that you are good at. What are they good at? Boswell, drive and finish. He is great at getting to the rim and finishing through, around, under contact. He's not going over, anywhere but over contact and scoring the basketball. He's great at that. Stojakovic, isolation ball. He can create any shot he wants when he has the ball in his hands. And then Wagler, penetration to free up the big man that's on the block. The problem is that the big men are never down low and on the block. They're always at the three-point line because both Ivasic twins want to shoot the three ball, even though they don't shoot it at a high clip. Merkovich, I think, I'm more okay shooting threes because he is so skilled at 6'9". He's really skilled and can step out a little bit more. Now, Tommy hits a 3 here and there, and so does Z, but not at a high enough clip where I want them stepping out that often that they do. And we've talked about this here already so far, talking about this basketball team on this show. I want them on the block a little bit more because they don't shoot it at a high enough clip. If Tommy was a 38% three-point shooter, take all the shots you want. You can shoot 10 a game if you're going to shoot close to 40%, but they're not. And that's the problem, and that's where you're wasting too many possessions. Plus, the bigs aren't rebounding. I mean, you saw a little bit earlier, I think they had like 3 apiece between Mrkovic and Tommy. It's not enough. If somebody has to rebound, it can't be Stojakovic the whole time. I still think this is a very good team. I want to pump the brakes a little bit on the, oh my goodness, the season's over. It's not. It's a very good team. I think they're at least Sweet 16 caliber, probably Elite 8 caliber. That doesn't mean they're going to get there, but I think that's the talent level that they have on this team. We'll see. As they get into Big Ten play, maybe they can find a little bit of a groove. But they do still have one more high-leverage non-conference game coming up. That's on Monday down in St. Louis. At least it's not on the road or an official road game. It's in St. Louis. There might be more Illinois fans there than Missouri fans. Missouri is very guard-heavy, is what I would call it. Their top 5 leading scorers are all guards, and they're not starting all of them. But that doesn't mean that there's not, or that there is a size mismatch, rather. Their top 2 guards, Mark Mitchell and Jacob Cruz, they're 6'9" and 6'8". So that's bigger than Illinois' backcourt. Get rid of Kylan Boswell. We know that he's only 6'2", but Stojakovic and Wagler, I believe, are 6'7" and 6'6". So Missouri actually has a size advantage there. And their center and forwards are at least on par or close to on par with Ivisic and Mrkovic, and both Ivisics really. So Mitchell is the guy that you need to worry about for Missouri, Mark Mitchell. This is his stats so far this season. He can score. He gets to his spot. He can really dribble, drive, and get into the lane. He does not shoot a lot of threes. And when he does, he doesn't hit them. I think he's 3 for 15 on the season. I think that math checks out to 20%. Somebody, Stats and Info, will have to check on that for me up there. But he gets to the paint. He rebounds. Like I mentioned, he's 6'9", so he's tall, lanky, and he can grab a few boards, and he does. He's a willing rebounder, which is always very helpful for a team if one of their guards is a willing rebounder and can go get them, and he does that very well. This game sets up, to me, to be slanted towards Illinois and their forwards, centers, whatever you want to call them. There's not a size mismatch, but there is a talent mismatch. Tomislav Ivisic is better than everybody that Missouri can trot out there on the front court. I think David Mrkovic, when he's playing at his best and is locked in and in tune with the game, is better than maybe everybody on Missouri's team. So if Illinois is playing all together, they're going to win this game. And they should win it, I wouldn't say rather easily. It could certainly be a fight. But there's a talent mismatch in favor of Illinois. So I think I'm going to pick them to win. I'm 0-2 picking Illinois basketball so far this year. Jim is not surprised whatsoever hearing that. 0-2 so far. I got to figure this out quick. I'm going to pick Illinois to win this game. They're just better. They're better. They need to show it, but they are a more talented and well put together roster, I would say. Even if Mitchell goes for 30, 35, I think Illinois can still win. Now, it won't help if he does that, but I think they can still win even if Mitchell goes crazy. So that's Missouri. We're going to talk about the Southern game, too. This is on December 29th. The reason we're talking about this game is because next week we're going to do full football show. Full football show for the bowl game. So we got to get this one in. And we don't have to spend a lot of time on it. It's Southern. It's the last non-conference game of the season for Illinois. There's one guy to worry about on this Southern team. It's Michael Jacobs. He's a torch. He averages 21 a game. He's a 50-40 guy, which in college is really impressive. But it's him. It's him who's a good player, but he doesn't blow me away, especially considering the kind of games, the kind of teams that Southern has played most of the time. Now, they've played a lot of high-power teams as well. They're 4-7 right now or something like that. So even if Michael Jacobs goes for 40, Illinois could win by 40 still. So I don't think you have a lot to worry about here in this Southern game. I think it's a good tune-up for the rest of Big Ten play. So even if I get the Missouri pick wrong and Missouri somehow picks them off, I'm pretty confident that Illinois is going to beat Southern. So I'll be on the board in a couple of weeks when we start talking basketball again in the new year. I think in the new year. I'll have to check the calendar. I'm not sure. It might be New Year's Eve. I'm not sure. So I'll pick Illinois to win this game. Like I said, I think it's a good tune-up for Big Ten play as we get into the rest of the season. Now, Southern did play Washington into overtime earlier this year. So they can compete a little bit, but they also got smacked by Texas and Arkansas. So I think that was their one, that they kind of overperformed their own talent and got Washington into overtime. Washington still ended up winning, but obviously pretty scary for Washington there. But I think Illinois will probably win easily. Now, Illinois did something interesting this week. They took a midseason transfer from Croatia. He'll join the team in January. He will not play in any games this year. So that kind of simmers me down a little bit, because my first thought when I saw this, because I didn't know anything about this guy, how could I? He plays in Croatia. My first thought was, oh, I don't like this. I don't like the ability to add a transfer, quote unquote, from another country in the middle of the season. I don't like that precedent, but he's not going to play in any games this year, mainly because looking into him more, I don't think he's ready, so that's a good thing. Let's see his stat profile if we can. He's 20 years old. These are his stats from last season in Croatia, because he hasn't been playing this year. I think because there was no team that wanted his services. He was only playing 8 minutes a game, wasn't shooting it great, but he's 20 years old. No idea what classification he'll have, if he'll be a freshman or a sophomore. I have no idea, no clue, because he's 20 years old. He's played a couple of years professionally in Croatia. Now, he did post some pretty good numbers in FIBA U18 or something like that. He averaged close to 20 a game. So there's something there where I think it's going to take years to find out what Tony Bilic is going to be for this Illinois team. Again, I don't love the precedent that it sets. To me, this just screams Brad Underwood doing an agent a favor. He's represented Bilic's by Misko Raznatovic, and he's the one that represents all the guys, all the itches outside of Stojakovic, all the itches that are on this Illinois team, including both Ivicic's, Merkovic, and Mihajlo Petrovic, who we haven't seen much from in the last few games. Even though I was kind of excited about it, he can move the ball at the point guard position. I digress. Like I said, maybe we'll see about Bilic a couple of years down the line. I think they want him to bulk up a lot more before he gets any time on the court in a Division I game. But he'll be a practice player. He's lengthy. Maybe he can pose some challenges in practice that'll help the real starting five, whatever you want to call it. Get better in practice. We will see. Don't love the precedent, but it's okay. He's not playing in games this year. Let's look at the upcoming schedule. Like I said, 2 games left before Big Ten play really kicks in. There's no non-conferences after the start of the new year in the Big Ten. We've already talked Mizzou and Southern, and then you can see how the Big Ten slate opens up. I think it's relatively easy for what they could have gotten. There's a lot of good teams in the Big Ten. I mean, they could have opened with Michigan, who's just blasting people by 30. But, I mean, they opened with Penn State. Penn State's not very good.
We are.
Penn State's not very good. Jim says #we are. Penn State's not very good, but they have had Illinois' number the last few years. And this game, it's not in State College. It's in Philadelphia at the Palestra. So if you've never watched a game at the Palestra, I hope you can watch that one because it really is really cool. Rutgers is really bad this year. Iowa, that back-to-back at Iowa, at Northwestern could be a challenge, but Minnesota isn't anything to write home about either. So I think it's a relatively easy start to this tough Big Ten slate. I mean, it's 2.5 months straight of just getting banged against really good teams in the Big Ten Conference. They've got Purdue, I think late January, if I remember correctly, and they've got Michigan sometime down the road. Those are the top two in the Big Ten right now, at least in my eyes. Michigan might be the clear national title favorite as we sit here in the middle of December. Still a lot of way to go. But Michigan looks great. Purdue looks pretty good, although they lost a week ago to Iowa State. But it's going to be a fun ride. It's going to be a fun run in the Big Ten. I just want Illinois to find some consistency. I want Andrei Stojakovic to play a little bit more, and I want him to have the ball in his hands more, and I want the bigs to stay on the blocks. Those are my takeaways from the start of Illinois' season. It's fun to talk basketball. I love talking football, but it's really fun to talk basketball. There's a lot to dive into. We will get into more of the Big Ten and national basketball picture at the start of the new year when there's a little bit more time to digest and we know a little bit more about these teams. We will get into that a little bit more, I promise you. Again, next week, you want bowl talk? We're going to talk about Illinois and Tennessee in the Music City Bowl. That's all we're going to talk about next week. Maybe we'll sneak a little bit of playoff talk in there as well. But really looking forward to this next 2 weeks and enjoy that bowl show. It's going to be a fun one to talk through. We're going to talk about everybody who's playing, who's not playing for each team, and try to dissect who could win this game if Illinois can cap off another really good season. Thank you so much for watching again. We'll see you back here next week.